Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. We're back in the garden for a May garden tour. I have about 95% of my vegetables planted for the season. So grab a cup of tea or a coffee, a cocktail or a mocktail, and stick around while I give you a little tour. Okay, this is the view from the front of the garden. We're gonna start at this shaded bed over in this corner. All of my spring flowers are really thriving in this corner. This is a viola. And then we've got my pansies, my nasturtiums. These are the baby rose nasturtiums. And then I believe I have some nasturtiums that are just popping up that have self-sown. And then we have my lettuce. I planted a ton of lettuce and I'm struggling with lettuce this year. I only have a few that are popping up here and there. My carrots seem to be doing okay. My onions are doing really well. This is another row of carrots. There is some bald spots, but they seem to be doing pretty good. I do have a really bad slug problem, and I think that's what's getting them. I planted some spinach here. I have a couple that have popped up, but we had to re-sow. And then I've got calendula back there. That's a little nasturtium that has self-sown. Then I have got some daucus hiding underneath my lavender bush. More calendula. This is a nasturtium that is self-sown. This is cilantro. I had such high hopes to have a little pea wall, and I planted an entire pack of peas in this spot, and only two little guys survived. I'm not sure. I think maybe there's not getting enough sun in this corner, or the birds got them first, or the slugs got them before they could really establish. But I did plant some scarlet runner beans in here a couple days ago, so I'm hoping that they take off. This lavender bush has gone crazy. I definitely need to prune it back when it's done blooming. This lavender bush has done the same on this side. It's a little bit more tamed, but definitely needs a good pruning. One thing I am most excited for that's happening right now is my grapes. This grape trellis has been around for 3 seasons and I haven't gotten any grapes, but if you look really closely, we are getting grapes this year. All of these little fruit clusters are forming. Looks like there's going to be a ton of grapes. So I'm very hopeful that we're going to have fresh grapes this year. This trellis means a lot to me because my husband and I got married under this arch. So I am so excited that we're finally getting grapes. And underneath my grapes here, this planter has done really well. These are nasturtiums, pansies, daucus. I stuck a geranium in here, and then these are purple peas. This pea wall over here didn't work, so I'm super happy that all of these peas have taken off, and these are purple peas, so I'm really excited to harvest those. And then I have the same situation going on this side, and I just added a little string to kind of keep them growing up this trellis, just kind of tucking them in as I go. It's going to be really gentle though because they're fragile. I had some kale back here, but I pulled that out and I'm just letting my raspberries take over. This is a huge raspberry bush over here. We're getting some fruit. Ton of raspberries. And my poor rhubarb, I had to save it because my raspberries took over this whole area and it does not look happy at all. But I'm going to leave it and hopefully the roots will push out some new growth. I just harvested a ton of chives. I left these for the pollinators, but all of my chives are doing so well this year. And my garlic, I'm so proud of this garlic. I planted it back in October and it looks like we're getting garlic scapes right now. So that's super exciting. I'm going to try some different recipes with garlic scapes. Then if we go back to the front, this is my brassica an onion bed. So I've got broccolini on this side. I planted 4 of them and 3 are doing really, really well. And then we've got this tiny one there. It's doing good. It's just a little bit slower than the rest. I'm not sure why. And then we've got this beautiful kale. Got 5 of those. My onions are really doing well. I've got the same kind of pattern of viola, nasturtiums, pansies on this side. And then I planted some alyssums in the front. And I planted some nasturtiums in between. So those will pop up in a couple weeks here. Some carrots sticking through. I just mulched this bed a couple days ago. We've got rosemary, a geranium, thyme, and then these are sweet peas. And I really thought that they would have taken off and climbed the arch by now, but they're kind of just staying stagnant. So I stuck a couple lemon cucumbers in there. Then I did some pickling cucumbers, the Anya variety. So, and then I stuck a couple dill seeds in here, so hopefully those will sprout. And then I've got nasturtiums, marigolds, nasturtiums, a geranium, nasturtiums, marigolds, and then some calendula back here. This is my strawberry bed. It has really taken off. We're gonna have so many strawberries. I don't know if you guys remember, but I pulled out like 150 strawberry plants from this bed and we're still getting so many. I have some chive blossoms that are trying to poke through as well. I just harvested an entire basket of arugula because I sprinkled some arugula seeds in here and that was really cool. And then back here we have my tomato bed. I just put the string up, got my tomatoes all settled in. So these are some nasturtiums that have self-sown for 3 years now. They're quite large and they usually take up this whole area. I kind of just let them do their thing. If they start crowding into the tomatoes, I usually pull them out, but they seem to be tamed right now, but they're so big and beautiful. I love these nasturtiums. 5 bush tomatoes. These are Roma tomatoes. And I've got 10 indeterminate tomatoes here on a string trellis. This is a mix of cherry tomatoes and beefsteak tomatoes, mostly cherry tomatoes because that's what we eat most. Some of them are already starting to flower. I was a little bit concerned because they were looking a little bit yellow and sad, but all of the new growth is really looking good, so happy about that. These are Sweet Millions, and they were so fun to have last year. They're really sweet. You can just eat them right from the vine. Got a couple geraniums, one on each side here. I just stuck this rosemary plant in this corner, and this is actually an onion that I left in the ground. I'm just kind of letting it do its thing. It looks like it's going to flower, so a little bit of an experiment there. And in between all of my tomatoes, I planted some basil. I grew this basil from seed. I'm really, really happy with it. It looks so lush and tasty. And then I stuck a couple alyssums that I also grew from seed. These are starting to flower now. First time growing alyssums from seed, and I have learned a lot. So next year I'm gonna try again to make them a little less leggy, but still worked either way. And then on this back edge, I planted a ton of marigolds. These are the marigolds that my daughter and I grew from seed. We collected the seeds last year, and then we planted them in a little eggshell container earlier this year, and we have a ton of marigolds. So I planted a whole row back here. And then we've got a couple chive plants in the corner as well. These 2 beds, this bed and that bed, are my hottest beds. So I wanted to prioritize them for all of my heat-loving vegetables. These are sweet peas, and they're a little bit taller than the ones on the other side, but still have not taken advantage of the trellis. So I stuck some cucumbers in here. This is a slicer variety called Mercury. And then I did a row of purple kale all down here. Marigolds, geranium, marigolds. These marigolds look like they're gotten a little bit crispy. I stuck some nasturtiums in here as well. This rosemary was actually from my planter on the deck, and I propagated it and it rooted really well. So that's exciting. Got an alyssum here. This is a lemon thyme. It does actually smell like lemon. Then down the middle, I have 6 bush tomatoes. I planted them really densely, so we'll see how that goes. They're just a paste tomato. And then I planted a row of basil. And then we did peppers. This is a sweet pepper. It's called Prism. And then I did the candy cane pepper. And then I did 4 jalapeno peppers. And then another candy cane. And then another Prism. On this arch, I did a mixture of squash and pumpkins. So this is a Prince Mint pumpkin, spaghetti squash. That is butternut squash. And then I got baby bumps pumpkins on the corner there. And then along the front, I did an alyssum, marigold. This is lobelia. So I'm hoping it'll trail down the front. Tiny little alyssum here. Nasturtiums, lobelia, nasturtium, and alyssum. On this side, we've got a geranium, chives, marigold, and then this is a thyme plant that I propagated from my other bed. Then I've got a little row of spinach in here. Okay, moving on to this bed here. I did the same thing, the same pattern with the squash. So baby bumps, pumpkin, butternut squash, spaghetti squash, and then the Prince Mint pumpkin. And I did a mixture of marigolds, geraniums, and nasturtiums all along the side here. I did another row of kale here. Got some sunburst squash here. I've never grown them before, but I'm excited to see those. They're like a round yellow pan squash. And then we've got some more peppers here. This is the candy cane. And then we've got a prism and then a candy cane again. And then we've got a whole TP for beans. This has green beans and purple beans. I direct sowed them. They haven't popped up yet. And then I just stuck a little marigold in the middle. And then I did a tiny row of basil here. And this zucchini I started a few weeks ago, and I did 3 of them and only 1 germinated. So I direct sowed 1 there. And then I sprinkled in some zinnias as well. I put some zinnias in here and then a zinnia in this corner. And I did borage on the edge here. A marigold, it's called a starfire marigold. And then I did chives, and then my whole row of geraniums and marigolds along the edge there. Just a little parsley plant that I grew from seed. It's looking a little bit laggy, but that's okay. Got my blueberry bushes that are just in pots here. So they've all bloomed. And it looks like we're going to get some blueberries this year, which is really exciting. And then in my greenhouse, these are my potatoes that I have in pots, which is crazy. I don't know how many potatoes we're going to actually get because these pots are quite small and there's a lot of green. So I don't know, but I really like it. I love the lush green. So even if we only get a couple potatoes, it'll be worth it for me. We've got some potato flowers here. And then we are going on vacation. So my greenhouse, I've just kind of prepped it for our vacation. We've got a couple more peppers, and these are some beefsteak tomatoes that I'm going to grow in the greenhouse. And then I've got a couple extra peppers here. These are all my dahlias, and I'm going to eventually pot them into some bigger containers. And then this is lemon balm, and then I think this is rutabaga, another little dahlia in the corner there. And then these are straw flower. I'm going to plant them in my garden when I get back. And then cosmos. And then I've got a couple other loose stuff, some lettuce and some kale that I'm just keeping in here for now. And then this is some sweet basil that I grew from seed. And then these are my habanero plants. I'm probably going to grow these in the greenhouse all season. And then I planted some cantaloupe, some watermelon, and cucamelons. And then this guy in the corner is my ginger. I'm going to give it a little bit of a better spot when I get back, but for now it's okay. Then this is my little flower corner back here. This is an orchid. Then I stuck some geraniums in here, a couple marigolds throughout. This is a lavender bush. This is some kind of rose bush. This is rutabaga as well. And then peonies. This is a hibiscus bush. Some more geraniums. This is Shasta daisies. So these will be blooming soon. And then we've got a couple nasturtiums that I've just kind of sowed everywhere. And then this is salvia. And then we've got all of my hydrangea bushes back here. This is a hosta. It's looking really lush and beautiful. And then in Elsie's fairy garden, Bleeding Hearts is done blooming. And she's just got a couple of flowers scattered throughout. Okay, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in to this May garden tour. I'm so excited for this growing season. We have so many exciting things happening. So make sure to follow along. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next video. So I stuck some pickles, or I stuck some cucumbers in here. These are slicer pickles called I stuck some pickles in, so I stuck some cucumbers in here. This is a slicer variety